In 2013, Islamic extremists stormed the ancient city of Timbuktu. Their mission: burn every book, destroy every manuscript, erase 800 years of African scholarship. They torched building after building, and the world watched Africa's intellectual heritage turn to ash. But when the smoke cleared, something impossible had happened. The books were gone, all of them, except they weren't destroyed, they'd vanished. And the secret of where they went reveals the greatest covert operation in African history. Most people think Timbuktu is a myth, a made-up place meaning the middle of nowhere. It's real. And in the 14th century, it was the intellectual capital of the world. While Europe was burning books during the Inquisition, Timbuktu was collecting them. The city had over 100 libraries and 25,000 university students studying mathematics, astronomy, medicine, law, and philosophy. Scholars came from Cairo, Baghdad, Andalusia, anywhere knowledge was valued. They copied manuscripts by hand, debated science and theology, and performed surgeries Europeans wouldn't master for another 300 years. Mansa Musa, the richest man in history, built the Sankore University, which became as prestigious as Oxford or the Sorbonne. Then, in 1591, Morocco invaded. The scholars fled. The libraries were ransacked. The first burning. But here's what the invaders didn't know. The books survived. Because Timbuktu's families did something brilliant, they hid them in secret rooms, underground vaults, and desert caves. They became guardians of knowledge, passing manuscripts down through generations. For 400 years, while the world forgot Timbuktu, the books waited. Fast forward to the 1970s. Western researchers start hearing rumors. Old families in Timbuktu still have ancient manuscripts, thousands of them, maybe hundreds of thousands. They don't believe it at first. How could books survive for 100 years in the Sahara Desert? But when they investigate, they find something extraordinary. Manuscripts on astronomy accurately calculating planetary movements, medical texts describing surgical procedures, mathematical treatises using concepts Europe wouldn't discover until the Renaissance, legal documents showing sophisticated democratic governance systems, and poetry, philosophy, love letters, shopping lists, the everyday life of medieval Africa, preserved in ink. The manuscripts prove something uncomfortable for Western historians. While Europe called Africa the Dark Continent, African scholars were teaching algebra, documenting eclipses, and writing feminist critiques of patriarchal marriage customs. Then, in 2012, Islamic extremists took control of northern Mali. They believed any knowledge outside their interpretation of Islam was heresy. When they entered Timbuktu, they had one goal: destroy the manuscripts. Librarians and historians watched in horror as centuries of knowledge faced extinction. The world pleaded, UNESCO condemned, scholars begged. The extremists didn't care. They burned the Ahmed Baba Institute. Flames consumed building after building. Smoke rose over the city. Global media reported the tragedy: 800 years of African scholarship, gone forever. Except something strange happened in those final days before the burning. The manuscripts had disappeared. What the world didn't know, what couldn't be reported until it was over, was that an underground network had activated. Librarians, ordinary citizens, families who'd guarded manuscripts for generations. They'd been preparing for this moment for months. Late at night, they moved the manuscripts, carrying them through dangerous streets, hiding them in donkey carts under vegetables, stuffing them in trunks and bags, moving them person to person in a human chain. The extremists were looking for libraries and institutions. They never thought to search homes, shops, or the back of trading caravans. One man, Abdelkader Haidara, organized a network of smugglers who evacuated 377,000 manuscripts, nearly the entire collection, by car, boat, and donkey across 600 miles of territory controlled by militants. They hid manuscripts in remote villages and in the homes of Timbuktu families, now scattered across Mali. When the extremists torched the libraries, they found only empty buildings. The manuscripts they burned, mostly fakes and duplicates left behind as decoys. The real treasures were already gone. Why did extremists want these manuscripts destroyed? Why did smugglers risk their lives to save them? Because those manuscripts are dangerous. They proved that Africa had universities when Europe had none, that African women were scholars and business owners in the 1400s, that democracy, religious tolerance, and scientific inquiry thrived in places colonizers claimed were savage. The manuscripts include astronomical charts, medical texts showing knowledge of anatomy and antiseptics, legal codes demonstrating sophisticated justice systems, and trade records showing economic networks spanning 3 continents. Every manuscript is proof that the narrative of African inferiority, the justification for slavery and colonization, was a lie. And that's why they keep trying to destroy them. Because books aren't just paper and ink, they're evidence, proof, testimony that can't be tortured into silence. Today, those manuscripts are being digitized, slowly, carefully. Teams of scholars are scanning every page, translating every word, and uploading them to online databases. The knowledge that survived 400 years in hiding, 2 attempts at destruction, and countless invaders, is finally being shared with the world. But here's what is remarkable. The families who saved these manuscripts didn't do it for money or recognition. Many are poor. They risked everything, including their lives, to protect books they couldn't even read. Why? Because their ancestors told them these books were important. That knowledge is sacred, that some things are worth dying for. In 2013, when extremists thought they'd erased African intellectualism, they actually proved its greatest strength. You can burn buildings, you can ban books, you can invade cities, but you cannot destroy knowledge that lives in the hearts of people who refuse to forget. Timbuktu's libraries didn't survive because of stone walls or fireproof vaults. They survived because ordinary people became warriors, and the pen literally proved mightier than the sword. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as incredible as we did, please share it and subscribe for more.